Gay men in West Virginia and our relationship while homeless. Interesting. One of them is 19 years old. We chatted before I went homeless a little bit. He was 18. He might be 20 now. He rescued me. What it was is he was a partner. This man told me we could hang out and have like one night where he lived, and then he told me as I was getting in the car, we were going to the pharmacy. I needed to ride to the pharmacy, and then I needed somewhere to be that night. We went to the Walmart, and then we went to this home out in the country. He actually was in a relationship. I didn't know that. And then I was in the garage, and his father-in-law came out with pizza. And it was nice that he did, but it was just like, I didn't know that they were there. It's just like, he didn't care to disclose any of that information, probably because I'm homeless. And it was just kind of like, well, I didn't feel, it was like, oh, I should have had that information. And I called the younger one that I knew online virtually for a while. He himself was extremely at risk for being homeless. Not a lot of family support, family was not together. He is gay, had not been homeless yet, but was like way incredibly on that line. He is now married to a man, so he has kind of put himself in the best spot. If he's gonna be homeless, he's gonna be homeless with somebody. It's not likely. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he did a really good thing. I don't know if it was like, was he old enough? I don't know, but I understand. I think, without knowing a whole lot about the situation, I think that he did what I think he made a good move. He rescued me. It's the only time we met each other. He just drove me back to downtown Charleston. We have a good connection. There's a man in Maryland I don't know. I haven't met, but we've talked for a long time. When the young one messed his car up in the snowstorm last winter, I connected him to my friend in Maryland, and he rescued him. So it was kind of like a double rescue. That's an interesting thing. And compare that to like my brother, Drew. He's 3 years younger, but drove away from me while being homeless, denied me HIV medications. Just, real brother and those kind of guys. Another one I'll talk about is one that passed right when I got to Charleston. His name was Michael. There's two Michaels that died kind of side by side, my Uncle Mike, and then this Michael. And Charleston and I were friends in 2015, 2016, and we saw each other, I'd say pretty regularly. We had a good connection. I liked him. I had not been homeless yet, but I became homeless not long after that when my dad met me. So what I remember about Michael is very much of a tough, kind in general, but very lonesome, no family. I think his parents were dead. And when he died, I found out that he died through his profile online, and somebody, it's not him, somebody explained that they were his like best friend, and they were trying to find people. He had died like within a week of me getting into Charleston, and I really thought I had a lot more death later on in this journey, 504 days homeless with people in Denver. But he was one that I was like, I remember him exactly, and I'm so awful. I feel bad that I got here right. Like I wish that I had got to see him. I never got to see a friend. Another one, gay man in Denver I'll talk about, or West Virginia, would be my friend Jordan. Died before I went homeless. And I always liked Jordan. Jordan and I met at one time, but we always stayed in touch virtually. I met his partner, the one that he was in a long-term relationship with, but did not know it until way after we met. He was homeless. He was living in a storage unit. Feeling incomplete without, I've also noticed if you have had loss in your family, he would be one that had like an extra dose of compassion. Like this person might not normally be that way, but just because they were going through something, had like way more heart.
What I'm noticing here is just the overwhelming trend of just being gay just automatically puts you in a situation, and if you're not gay, you're just unlikely to ever really come around. And like this example with Jordan, he passed away. That pretty much, I think, propelled his partner to be homeless. We are all tough, strong men on the outside, and it just didn't save us. And it just, you look at the relationship I had with the young person that saved me from someone who misled me and put me in the woods. My real brother, you could grow up in the same house. You don't even have to be my brother. You could be just having my same name, like Nathan Fry. These people that are supposed to be, our guardians of our small towns and our best people that we look up to in life. When your life is actually at risk, they're unable to care, and that's how this problem just continues to kill people all of the time. And it's just like I'm kind of making this documentary almost like a post-mortem project. Like I'm just expecting to not make it to spring. And so this is kind of a record for, this is speaking, essentially from the grave. It's kind of like, I don't think that anybody is going to be able to help me avoid a 16 times higher likelihood of death, and it will just result in what it usually does. And I've seen it myself so many times. I cannot get anybody from the quote unquote, mainstream world to just wake up and see how hard I'm trying and how awful the situation is and how unbearably, excruciatingly painful it is all the time. And then you just drop dead. Of course, I really couldn't do this segment justice without explaining I am a gay man from West Virginia, and I was already at the gates of I was past them. I was at the Student Health Center of my university where I received a $166,000 education and had already been homeless, had already known how bad it is. I was already there trying to receive care, trying to usurp my homophobic family, trying to get them to understand if I don't get help here, where can I get help? That was over 475 days ago. And here I am. So absolutely, I have to make sure that Dr. Connie Book may be surprised or perk up to listen to this. Also, Dr. Rizzo, the professor who later in late 2023, I contacted because she had actually done a project with her students at the homeless shelter. And I contacted her and said, I'm a university alumni and I actually am homeless and I need help. And again, the door was closed. And it was just kind of like, well, there's nothing else I can do except keep trying. So I'm going to keep trying until I drop dead. And it's extremely important that we all know the reason that they kicked me off campus and to sent me back to the train station that day was because my father went to January 6th, the Capitol insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, which is something I quit working with him over. I was that much in protest of him being there. That's why the university had the only reason for not helping me.